throwaway because my sister follows my main account and I don't want to cause more drama. So I, female 32, just got a wedding invitation from my younger sister Vanessa, female 29, that has me seriously questioning if I'm going crazy or if my family is just, I don't know, messed up. Basically, I got an invite only to the ceremony, but not the reception after. And now she's sending me links to ridiculously expensive gifts she expects me to buy her. I'm so confused and hurt and angry, and I don't even know what to feel anymore. Some background. My sister has always been the golden child of the family. Growing up, she could literally do whatever she wanted while I was expected to be responsible and set a good example and all that crap. She would throw these massive tantrums and somehow I'd be the one who had to apologize for upsetting her when I didn't even do anything. My parents, especially my mom, would bend over backwards to make her happy while I was just expected to deal with it. Anyway, so now I'm an accountant with a decent job. Nothing crazy, but I pay my bills, have a modest apartment, contribute to my 401k, boring adult stuff. Meanwhile, Vanessa has bounced between like a million different jobs and relationships over the years. She changes her entire personality based on whoever she's dating. When she was with that vegan yoga instructor guy, suddenly she was all about clean eating and spirituality. When she dated the musician, she was all about the local music scene. You get the idea. About 6 months ago, she got engaged to this guy Andrew, male, 34, who's like seriously wealthy. He sold his tech startup for millions, apparently. And I was genuinely happy for her. I mean, he seemed nice the couple times I met him, even if she barely introduced us and kind of rushed those conversations along. But I did notice some weird things, like how she seemed way more excited about his money than about him as a person. She kept talking about his beach house and the trips they'd take and the car he bought her, not so much about, him as a human being. Oh, and I should probably mention, about 3 years ago, Vanessa called me crying because she'd just broken up with her boyfriend and couldn't make rent. I loaned her $3,000, which was a lot for me back then, to help her out. She promised she'd pay me back in a few months. Well, guess who showed up to a family dinner 3 weeks later with a brand new designer purse and shoes? And she's only paid back like $800 of that money total. When I brought it up once, she said something like, "Oh my freaking God, are you seriously keeping track? That's so weird. Like I'm the crazy one for remembering she owes me money." And my mom later told me I shouldn't nickel and dime family. So anyway, I get this wedding invitation in the mail last week. It very clearly says I'm invited to the ceremony only, which I thought was super weird. So I called my cousin Jen to see if hers said the same thing, and she was like, "No, mine says ceremony and reception." I was like, "Wait, what?" So I asked around and everyone else in the family was invited to both, just not me. I was honestly so confused. I called my mom to ask what was going on, and she got all weird and uncomfortable on the phone. She was like, "Well, weddings are expensive. I'm sure Vanessa and Andrew had to make some tough decisions about the guest list." But that didn't make any sense because literally everyone else in the family was invited to both parts. So at Sunday family dinner yesterday, I decided to just straight up ask Vanessa what was going on. I waited until we were all sitting around the table and casually asked about my invitation, only saying ceremony, not reception. She got this tight smile and said they had to make some cuts due to venue limitations. When I mentioned that Jen and everyone else were invited to both, she got really annoyed. She told me I was making everything about myself and that it was her wedding. Mom immediately jumped in, saying we shouldn't create drama at dinner. Dad just stared at his plate, looking super uncomfortable. I tried to stay calm, but asked why everyone else was invited to both parts except me. That's when Vanessa basically lost it and told me I don't fit the elegant aesthetic they're going for at the reception. She said my accountant friends would make Andrew's colleagues uncomfortable and they need to maintain a certain image. I couldn't even speak. She quickly added that it wasn't personal, just about the image of the wedding. When I asked if I could at least bring Richard, my boyfriend of 2 years, to the ceremony, she said no, +1s for ceremony-only guests. That's the policy. I just shut up after that because I was literally about to cry. The rest of dinner was so awkward. Then, just to add insult to injury, she sent me an email a week later with links to her registry, specifically highlighting items she expects me to purchase. We're talking $500 plus items here. For a wedding I'm not even fully invited to. The crazy thing is, I don't even care about fancy parties or whatever. Okay, that's not entirely true. Of course, it hurts to be excluded, but I'm trying to be mature about this. But the fact that she explicitly told me I'm not good enough for her reception and then expects me to buy her expensive gifts? Am I taking crazy pills here? I called my mom to vent, and she had the nerve to tell me I should be the bigger person and just buy the gifts anyway, because that's what family does. And you know how important this day is to your sister. This isn't even the first time something like this has happened. When we were in college, Vanessa borrowed my car for what was supposed to be a quick trip to the store. She returned it 3 days later with a huge dent in the bumper. Never paid for repairs. Mom said, "You know how scatterbrained Vanessa can be. Don't make her feel bad about it." I haven't responded to her registry email yet. Part of me wants to just ignore it completely, but another part is worried about causing a huge family rift. Though apparently I'm already not good enough for her fancy wedding, so maybe the rift is already there. Am I the idiot if I don't buy my sister expensive wedding gifts when I've been explicitly told I'm not welcome at the actual celebration? Edit. My parents are still together. And yes, they're both enabling Vanessa's behavior, though my dad is more passive about it, while my mom actively defends her. It's been this way since we were kids. Vanessa throws a fit, gets what she wants, I'm expected to understand. Sometimes I feel like I was raised to be her emotional support sister or something. Edit 2. Some people are asking if I've done something to Vanessa to cause this exclusion. Honestly, no. We've had the normal sister fights growing up, but nothing major. I've always tried to be supportive of her, even when she makes questionable decisions, which is like all the time. I helped her move apartments twice last year. I've listened to her cry over breakups. I even helped her prepare for her job interviews. So this exclusion feels completely out of left field. Edit 3. For those asking about my boyfriend Richard, yes, he's upset on my behalf, but is letting me handle it my way. He thinks I should skip the ceremony entirely, but he knows it's complicated with family. Edit 4. A lot of people have asked about Andrew and whether he knows about this. Honestly, I'm not sure. The few times I've met him, he seemed really nice and down to earth. Not at all the snobby type. Part of me wonders if he even knows I'm being excluded like this. But I don't have his contact info, and reaching out directly might just cause more drama. Now for the first update. So, yeah, things have gone completely off the rails since my last post. I guess I should probably start at the beginning. You see, a lot of you asked why my sister has been treating me this way. Okay, so about 6 months ago, way before she even announced her engagement, something happened that I didn't mention in my first post because I was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Stupid, I know. My cousin Jen and I were having lunch at this restaurant downtown called Savory and Rye. So Jen and I are having lunch, and we spot Vanessa sitting at a table across the restaurant with her friend Melissa. They didn't see us because they were in this little corner booth and we were on the opposite side. We weren't like trying to eavesdrop or anything, but when we were walking to the bathroom, we had to pass pretty close to their table and, well, we overheard some stuff. Like really messed up stuff. Vanessa was straight up bragging to Melissa about how she had specifically researched wealthy single men in the area and targeted Andrew. I'm not exaggerating. She was literally laughing about how she pretended to love hiking and tech stuff, which are Andrew's big passions, and saying that once they were married, she could stop pretending to care about his startup stories. Like, who says that? But the worst part was when she talked about their meet-cute story. Andrew always tells everyone they met by chance at this charity gala, but Vanessa told Melissa that she had actually researched his schedule ahead of time and knew he would be at that event. She even made sure to wear his favorite color, which she found out from stalking his Instagram, and positioned herself near the bar where he usually gets drinks at these events. Again, from stalking his social media. I was honestly speechless. Jen was too. After we went back to our table, we debated whether we should tell Andrew. Ultimately, we decided it wasn't our place to get involved. I kept telling myself I was respecting boundaries, but honestly, I think I was just avoiding conflict. I hate confrontation so much that I let people walk all over me. A bunch of you pointed that out in the comments on my last post, and yeah, you were right. After posting here last time, I decided to just politely decline buying the expensive gifts. I sent Vanessa a text saying I'd get her something thoughtful, but within my budget. That's when things got even worse. She started sending me these super manipulative messages saying I owed her this for all the attention I got growing up while she struggled with anxiety, and that if I actually cared about family, I'd want to contribute to her happiness. For context, Vanessa claims to have anxiety whenever it's convenient for her, but she's never seen a therapist or gotten diagnosed. This anxiety never stops her from going to parties or events she wants to attend. It only appears when there's something she doesn't want to do or when she wants sympathy. My mom started calling me daily to pressure me about the gifts. She kept saying my sister was more sensitive than me and that sometimes we make sacrifices for family harmony. I kept trying to explain that I literally couldn't afford a $500 juicer for a wedding I wasn't even fully invited to, but she just kept saying I was being selfish and making everything about me, which, by the way, is exactly what so many of you said would happen in the comments. You guys called it. Then came the bridal shower last weekend. So many of you asked if I was even invited to that. Yes, I was, but oh my freaking God, I wish I hadn't gone. I arrived with a thoughtful gift, a really nice cookbook, and some fancy cooking utensils that weren't on her registry, but I put thought into it because she mentioned wanting to learn to cook more. Vanessa greeted me pretty coldly, but accepted the gift. During the gift opening portion, Vanessa made this huge show of opening the group gift from the bridesmaids. It was this ridiculously expensive spa package and weekend getaway thing. I was sitting there feeling super uncomfortable because I'm her only sister, and she didn't even ask me to be a bridesmaid. Like, not even a conversation about it. Then Vanessa loudly asked why I didn't contribute to the group gift in front of everyone. When I said I wasn't told about any group gift, she said I could have asked, since everyone knows bridesmaids do group gifts. The whole room got so quiet and awkward. Then Melissa, the same one from the restaurant, said I could afford it with my job. I was mortified. Everyone was just staring at me. Vanessa then asked if I at least got something from the registry she sent me. I admitted I brought a different gift, and when she opened it, she barely looked at it before setting it aside. Then I heard her whisper to Melissa, but loud enough that I could hear, about me not fitting in. I had to excuse myself to the bathroom, where I literally cried for 10 minutes before coming back out. I've never felt so humiliated in my life. That was my breaking point. I don't know if it was the right thing to do. Seriously, I've been second-guessing myself ever since. But the next day I ran into Andrew at a coffee shop downtown. It felt like the universe was giving me a sign or something. I ended up telling him everything. I showed him screenshots that Jen had taken of Vanessa's social media messages to friends about her plan to land a rich husband. Jen had been so shocked by what we overheard that she started documenting stuff just in case, which I thought was excessive at the time, but now I'm grateful for. Andrew didn't believe me at first. He looked, annoyed. And then when I showed him the screenshots, his face just kind of fell. He looked really upset. But he also thanked me for being honest. He said he wished someone had told him sooner and that this explained so much. I felt terrible for him, but also relieved that the truth was finally out. The next day, Andrew called off the engagement, and then everything went crazy. Vanessa showed up at my apartment screaming and crying. She was banging on my door so loud, my neighbors came out to see what was happening. She was yelling that I ruined everything, that I was just jealous of her happiness, that I've always tried to sabotage her relationships. She said I was jealous that a man like Andrew would never look twice at someone like me, which, ouch. But to be honest, for a split second when we were talking at the coffee shop, I did stupidly wonder if maybe he was interested in me a little. The way he was looking at me was so intense. But I immediately realized he was probably just processing everything. God, I'm an idiot sometime. My mom called me a traitor to the family and said I'd ruined Vanessa's chance at happiness out of spite. My dad was a little more measured, but still said I should have found a different way to handle it. Part of me feels like I did the right thing. Andrew deserved to know the truth. But another part of me feels terrible. Did I really need to blow up her entire engagement? Could I have found another way? Was I secretly happy to ruin things for her after how she's treated me? A few of you commented on my last post that I should let karma handle it and just distance myself from the wedding. Maybe you were right. I don't know. I feel like I'm going crazy. Half my family isn't speaking to me now. I had to turn my phone off because it was blowing up with angry texts from relatives. Vanessa has apparently been telling everyone that I made everything up because I'm jealous and bitter about being single. I'm not single. I have a boyfriend of 2 years. I don't know what to do now. I've created this huge family rift, and I don't know if it can ever be repaired. Was I wrong to tell Andrew? Should I have just kept my mouth shut and let her marry him under false pretenses? Edit. Holy crap, this blew up again. Thank you everyone for your comments and support. I'm trying to read through all of them, but there are so many. Edit 2. No, Andrew and I are not getting together. That was just a fleeting, stupid thought I had because I was emotional and he was being nice to me. He was just grateful for the truth. We've had no contact since that coffee shop conversation. Now for the second update. It's been about 2 months since the whole wedding blow-up thing. A lot has happened since my last update. I've been staying at Richard's place more often, my boyfriend, to avoid the drama. His apartment has bad water pressure though, so I've been washing my hair at the gym most days instead. About 3 weeks after the wedding got canceled, Andrew, my sister's ex-fiancé, reached out to me. He asked if we could meet for coffee, and honestly my first thought was, oh God, is he going to blame me too? But I figured I owed him at least a conversation, so I said yes. We met at a cafe downtown. He wanted to thank me for telling him the truth. He said, after our conversation, he started looking into things more and found even more evidence of Vanessa's lying. He found conversations with her friends about his money and how she was planning to redecorate his house after the wedding. He even found a checklist she'd made of his assets. Who does that? Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So during the conversation, I had this really embarrassing moment where I thought maybe he was interested in me romantically. The way he was looking at me was so intense, and he kept saying how much he appreciated my honesty. But then I realized he was just grateful and looking for closure. God, I felt so stupid for even thinking that for a second. I blame it on reading too many romance novels, lol. After the wedding got called off, Vanessa had to move out of Andrew's condo where she'd been living. She's been staying with our parents in her old bedroom that still has all her Justin Timberlake posters from high school because my mom never let anyone touch them. Meanwhile, my bedroom got turned into a home office right after I left for college. But whatever, I'm not bitter about it or anything. Okay, maybe a little. The family is still pretty divided over everything. My dad and a few relatives have privately told me I did the right thing. My dad actually called me last week and said he was proud of me for having the courage to do what was right, which honestly made me cry because he's never said anything like that to me before. But my mom and some other relatives are still blaming me for destroying Vanessa's chance at happiness. I've been skipping Sunday family dinners. Even when I had the flu once, my mom guilted me into showing up. But now, I just can't handle sitting across from Vanessa while she glares at me and my mom makes comments about loyalty and family first. Vanessa's been spreading stories about me to our extended family and friends. According to my cousin Jen, Vanessa's been telling everyone that I've always been jealous of her and that I made up lies about her to sabotage her relationship because I can't stand to see her happy, which is complete BS, but some people are believing her. I've had moments where I doubted my decision, especially when my mom said something like, even if Vanessa had some questionable motives, people marry for advantages all the time, which made me wonder if maybe I did overreact. But then I remember the screenshots about Operation Bag a Rich One and feel better about my decision. But everything changed at my cousin Ben's birthday party last weekend. I almost didn't go because I knew Vanessa would be there, but Jen convinced me I shouldn't isolate myself from the whole family. So I went, and it was awkward. Some relatives were nice to me, others were avoiding me, and Vanessa was giving me death glares. Then Melissa showed up, Vanessa's friend from the restaurant. Remember her, the one who knew about the whole plan. I noticed she seemed uncomfortable and was avoiding Vanessa, which was weird because they're usually together all the time. After about an hour, Melissa came up to me and asked if we could talk privately. We went out to the patio, and she looked really nervous. She kept fidgeting with her bracelet and couldn't look me in the eye. She told me she felt guilty about everything and wanted me to know that what I heard at the restaurant wasn't even the worst of it. Vanessa had plans to divorce Andrew after a few years and take him for everything. She had researched prenup loopholes and everything. I asked Melissa why she was telling me this now, and she said She recently found out that Andrew had helped her brother get into rehab a few months ago, and she felt awful knowing how Vanessa had been planning to use him. We didn't realize my mom had come outside and was standing by the door. She heard everything Melissa said about the divorce plan. She looked shocked. She asked if this was true, and Melissa confirmed everything, even adding more details about how Vanessa had calculated exactly how long she needed to stay married to get the maximum financial benefit. My mom just walked away without saying anything. Word spread through the party quickly. I could see people whispering and looking over at Vanessa. Then Vanessa spotted me talking with Melissa, and she realized what was happening because she grabbed her purse and stormed out. The next weekend, my dad organized a family meeting at their house. It was really tense. They confronted Vanessa with everything that had come to light, and she finally admitted to some of it. But she was still trying to justify her actions, saying stuff like, "Everyone dates strategically, and I would have been a good wife to him anyway." Vanessa texted me a few days ago. It wasn't exactly an apology, but she did acknowledge that things got out of hand and said she started seeing a therapist. I don't know if I believe her, but I guess it's something. I guess that's everything.